Welcome back to another Wrong Trousers video. This week we are flying to Copenhagen in Denmark for the March Madness, which is a Grade 3 match racing event held in the Royal Danish Yacht Club. The boats that we'll be using for this event are the DS-37s. The DS-37s were originally designed in 1991 and made specifically for match racing. They are 37 feet long, weigh 3.9 tons, and are extremely maneuverable thanks to their large oversized rudder. After a quick briefing on shore, it was time to rig up the boats and head out and start racing. This event is our first time racing together as a crew after our one and only practice sail. Joining us this weekend to get us into shape is Tiana. Tiana is part of the 2.0 racing team, who are currently the Vice World Champions in match racing. In our first race of the round robin, we are port entry, so we have the blue flag at the back. For those unaware how match racing starts, both boats enter the starting box from either end of the line at 4 minutes to go. If you enter the starting zone too early, you get a penalty, and if you haven't entered the zone by 2 minutes to go, you also get a penalty. Typically, the boat entering from the committee boat has an advantage as they are entering on starboard. In the first race of the event, both of us were a little bit late entering the starting box as we were still dialing in our time and distance calls. Because of the light winds, we didn't really want to engage in too much boat-on-boat battling at the start, as it can be very tough to regain the lost momentum in these light winds. We decided to head out to the right side of the starting box to set up for a final approach back to the line. The other boat obviously had a similar strategy and decided to follow us out to the right side of the starting box. With a minute to go, we are both on our final approaches to the start line. As the boat behind, it is our job to try and push the other boat past the ley line of the pin end, or above the line. The other boat is doing something what's known as fishtailing. This is a maneuver where they consistently turn up into the wind and bear away from the wind, in the hope of preventing the boat behind of getting an overlap with them to leeward. This is a common technique used by the boat in front, often to try and kill some time as they are early on their approach to the line. At this point, it's clear that the other boat has a lot of time to kill before the line, and we tried to get an overlap and call windward boat. The call was green flagged by the umpire, so no penalty was awarded to the other boat. However, the other boat has realised that they are way too early and tried to come back behind the line. But we have fully closed the door on them as the windward boat they are required to keep clear. We have to come down to avoid them, and obviously we flag for a penalty, and they get penalised for this. You can see the yellow flag that the umpire is holding up, which indicates the yellow boat has a penalty. We decided to tack off the line and tried to get to the pressure on the right side of the course that was spotted by our bowman Ryan. The other boat also hits the pin end, which gets them another penalty, so they have to get rid of one of their penalties straight away. This basically hands us the race win in our first race. All that's left to do is not make any mistakes and loose cover around the course to convert the win.
This is a short tack, I think, with the current, right? Right? Yeah. Oh, sorry, yes, sorry.
At this point, we're just sailing our own race and making sure we don't make any silly mistakes on the course. It was very nice to have this type of race as our first race, so we become accustomed to sailing together in a low-pressure environment.
3, 2, left, 1 second. Right.
Skipping forward to the windward mark, the conditions are still super light, but marginally more pressure at the top of the course than the bottom. Hitting the port ley line and getting set for our first hoist.
Pull up. Okay, go, 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 go.
One of the problems we were having in the first few hoists in these conditions was the initial set. Because the wind was so light and the boat accelerated on the initial bear away, the apparent wind was too far forward for the kite to fill properly, and it ended up just backwinding and acting as a giant brake. To counteract this, we began to slightly delay the hoist and do a big dial down. Over the day, these kept getting better and better. The rest of the race was, as they say, plain sailing. We maintained our lead from the start throughout and started the event with the win. As you can see, conditions were super light. After a short postponement waiting for the wind to fill back in, we got back to racing for our second race in the round robin. Again, we were entering as Blue Boat.
Probably going for a high cross here if we can. Pull upwind. Okay, it's going to be a dial up. To attack here. Wait right, and 3.
Our timing on this start was much better than the first race. We attempted to go for a high cross, but ended up going into a dial-up, although it was short-lived as the other boat had way too much speed and just sailed straight past us. We are now in the typical match racing pre-start cat and mouse, where both boats are just fighting to get the best position possible for the start. Our plan for this race was to try and stay on the left side of the course, so we had to lead back towards the pin end. So when we see the other boat jibing, we throw in a jibe and match him. On our approach back, we have a bit of time to kill, so we're doing a bit of fishtailing to try and burn the clock down. The important thing for us here is to ensure that the other boat does not get the hook, which basically means becoming overlapped with us. The reason why we want to keep them clear behind comes down to the racing rules of sailing. If the boat becomes overlapped with us, we then have to keep clear as the windward boat, but if they're not overlapped, they have to keep clear as the boat clear astern.
Coming up.
Here, the other boat decides to go up to windward. We now have the more powerful position to leeward of the boat, and we can control them for the remainder of the start procedure, as long as they don't sail over the top of us.
Get speed up here, no one lose.
With 35 seconds to go, we are just matching the boat to windward speed, maintaining that strong position to leeward. By keeping the gauge super close between us and them, we prevent them from bearing away and accelerating off the line.
Big down. Easy. And up. One and press.
After the start, we just managed to get our bow out and in front of the other boat. This puts them in a really bad position. These boats produce a lot of dirty air just to windward and astern of them. So if you have a boat in front and to leeward, you're going to struggle and get completely gassed. As a result, the other boat decides to throw an attack in a bid to get clean air and some leverage. We decide to not let them get any leverage, and we tack with them and try to keep control of the race.
On top of here.
After sailing over the top of them, they decide to tack and get out of it, and of course we match them. This is the start of a long tacking duel all the way up the course. If you're enjoying the video, please drop a like, and if you'd like to see more sailing content, consider hitting the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, which is a big help for us. We have a lot of exciting events coming up as the season gets underway, so you don't want to miss out. Coming into the 100 mark for the first time, we maintained our lead. On the hoist, we do more of a dial down and delay the hoist on the spinnaker fractionally, just to let our apparent wind sort itself out and the kite doesn't act like a big parachute brake like you have on the drag cars. As a result, we get a much nicer hoist and spinnaker set. One of the things we could have done slightly better is mark the spin sheets for where it should be cleated during a hoist, so that when it goes up, it fills instantly, and you're not pulling in a few handfuls of sheet before it starts to fly.
Dip in the water, can we get that out? Happy, we're banging the mark here, so. Okay, diving in 3, hold at 3, 2, 1, and diving.
Into the leeward mark, we have a jibe and a drop. The manoeuvre went pretty well. Maybe the kite could have flown a little bit better through the jibe, but without the pole, it's not the easiest thing to do in the world. Because of the clean rounding and good exit out of the mark, this allowed us to stay high on the exit and essentially shut the door for any openings for a competitor to take advantage of. We were able to close out the race similar to the first one without any complications and have 2 wins on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, we had no camera for the third race of the day, but we managed to get the win in the race and end the day on 3 wins from 3, which saw us joint leaders along with Christine, who kindly put us up in her house for the weekend, and Anna, who we raced first thing the next morning. Make sure to tune in to the next video for day 2 of the regatta and see if we manage to keep the winning streak alive.